This is my K-bar Becker BK-2. This is one of my go-to survival type knives. It's a heavy duty, indestructible thing. Basically a sharpened pry bar. For a long time though I've looked at it and thought, can I make it better? I had a bit of a go at putting a better edge and edge profile on it, but probably didn't go far enough. So I'm going to go a whole lot further with it. The idea is I'm going to take these handle scales off, I'm going to strip back the black finish, get rid of that. Going to look at increasing that angle on the secondary bevel, getting a bit more of a convex on there, try and thin out that edge a little bit more. My plan then is to hit it with some gun blue to refinish it, and then obviously resharpen, restrop, and I've got a little bit something special at the end to do as well. Now I've never done this before, the whole idea of this, stripping the finish, the gun blue, so this video could go one of two ways. It could be, and I hope it will be, a video showing how the knife was rebirthed and reborn and made better. Or it could be a video showing how I completely stuffed up my BK-2. Hopefully not. Anyway, I can't resist the temptation to have a go, so let's see what happens. Okay, so first step is going to strip this back. We've got some paint stripper here. Pretty nasty stuff this, so I've opened the shed right up. You might get a little bit of extra background noise there on the video. And I'm going to use a paintbrush to apply that, just putting the glove on for when I'm handling the knife. And here we go, point of no return really. Just whack a thick coat of this on. Just going to get it down into those holes as well. I want to get all that off. The idea is to glue everything that way, get it all nice and even looking, hopefully. Alright, that's that. So I'll just leave that sit for a while and then come back and we'll strip it off. Right, that's been about 20 minutes. Let's put that paint stripper on. Just bring that up close to the camera. Just have a look. And it looks like it's doing the job. You can see there. Starting to come away. So I'll get in and have a bit of a scrape of this and just see how we're going. It's coming off pretty easy. It's quite rubbery as it comes off, but no, it's coming off pretty easy. Okay, that's one side. Obviously a fair bit of clean up still to go, but I'll just keep going with this, and once I've got it all nice and cleaned up and back to raw steel, we'll have another look at it. Okay, I gave that a scrape down and it came up pretty good. What I've decided to do is just give another bit of a hit with the paint stripper. Particularly I want to get into the engraving on the side there. It's got BK-2 and the K-bar Becker logo there. That'll just make it easy to get all that finish or painted finish off of that, and then we'll get it all nice and cleaned up, move on from there. Okay, so that's all the stripping done. I had to give that a couple of goes with the stripper and a fair bit of elbow grease. You guys, you'll be able to see there the lines from when the blade was originally cut out. To clean that up, I had it's like a toothbrush, only metal bristles, and I got that with the stripper and I was working that across that grain in line with those cuts to clean those out. Also, a little bit of steel wool on it just to give it a clean, a little bit of 1500 grit, which I've just put on a block and ran across there. And I might do a bit more of that later, just to before I refinish it. But the next step I want to do is to work on that edge. As mentioned, I want to try and bring that relief edge up just that little bit more and get a nice convex on it. Well, whether it'll be a nice convex is debatable, I'm still learning. But we'll put a convex on at any rate. and then we'll look at the refinishing part of the project. Okay, so we've got the knife clamped down. What I'm going to do, I've got a length of wood here, it's about 350mm long. Got some sandpaper strips cut to suit that. This is 180 grit, so probably would have preferred 220, but this is what I can get my hands on. Just going to put that on like that, hold it at each end. This is an idea I picked up off someone else's channel, and basically get in and it's going to be a nice long run, much like a file, to bring up that relief edge. First time I've tried this, I actually like it. You can get really good control, good long run at the edge, and it feels nice and controllable. Like I can be very accurate with what I want to do. So this seems like a really good technique. You can already see that relief edge starting to come up. I don't know if you guys can. I'll try and zoom that in a little bit. It may or may not show. That's starting to look pretty good. So I'm going to keep motoring away on that, do both sides, and come back for a progress report. Yeah, I'm not sure how well you guys are going to see this, but hopefully you can see that relief edge is coming a bit further, and of course there's a smoother transition now. We've basically taken off the edge of the corner between the primary and secondary bevels. So now what I need to do is get in and keep refining that. The other thing that I needed to do was I've just glued a piece of leather onto one side of that, and the idea of that is it'll give the sandpaper just that little bit of give, not too much, so I can get that sort of nice curvature there when I'm trying to form the convex on this blade. So we'll get in and do a bit more. So we're using the leather side this time round. I can feel the difference. It feels just that little bit soft, like it's not quite as harsh, even though I'm using the same grit of paper. So I need to turn that over and do the other side, which means I've got to stand where the camera is. So again, we'll check back shortly and see how the thing's progressing. Alright guys, progress report. Finished at the 180, then went to some 240 paper on the leather backed piece of timber there, and pretty happy with how that's come out so far. Hopefully that will focus. You can see there's now no discernible sort of line between the primary and secondary bevels. It's got a nice smooth kind of feel. It's still a very thick convex due to the grind and nature of the blade, but that's okay given the purpose. I'm not looking to get a fine bevel, I just want to increase its performance. So that's looking pretty good. There's a little bit more work to do on it, but for this point in time I'll probably run with that. I think the edge, hopefully I didn't mess the edge up. Not that I'm not going to resharpen it later, but in theory shouldn't have been touching the edge of that sanding, and I haven't, which is good. I did find that technique, and I think I got it off Kylie's channel, clamping it down like that and using the paper across the knife like that. I found that was really felt quite natural and easy to control, and I could control the angle and the amount that I was taking off really well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give this a bit of a run over with just some fine sandpaper, maybe some steel wool, get it all nicely cleaned up. Then I've got to clean it with methylated spirits, and we'll see how this bluing compound is going to do to it. Okay, so that's the state of play of it at the moment. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to get the metho out, give that a clean up, dry up, and then it'll be ready to get the blue cream put on it. Quite a bit of gunk's come off of that. What I'll do, I've got a hook on here somewhere I prepared earlier, so I'm just going to hang that and let it air dry like so. Put it in frame, might help Mark. And then we'll do the bluing. Right, so that's dried up. This is the gear I'm using. It's the brand that was available at my local gun store. It's G96 brand. It comes from the USA, so it's probably available pretty much anywhere. I've got the disposable gloves on because this stuff's pretty nasty. It's quite acidic, so you probably don't want to get that on your skin. Get the cap off. Interesting colour. I suppose what other colour would you expect gun blue to be but blue? But anyway. Now the idea apparently is it's quite a sort of a thick gel type of a compound. So I'm going to just wipe that on there. It's not the easiest to get out of the bottle, I must say. It would have been better if it was in a jar with more of an open top. Anyway, so be it. Well, and that just instantly reacts. Have a look at that. That's amazing. The only thing the bottle doesn't tell me in the directions is how long to leave this on for. However, I did see a video here on YouTube by another guy who's done this, and I'm fairly certain he said something like 15 to 20 minutes, so I'll probably give it that long. As far as I'm aware, you can recoat with this stuff if you need to. The longer it stays on, I presume the darker it becomes, and that's fine. I don't mind how dark it goes. I'd rather darker than lighter. If it does come out a bit light, I'll just give it another coat, I guess. I'm quite amazed at how fast that takes effect. It's quite amazing. Just hoping the way I'm putting it on is not going to end up with patchy kind of an effect on the steel, but we'll see how we go. It looks to be that it is a little bit there on that blade, but that might even out. It could be just the way the blade's finished as well. Alright, so we'll just let that rest there for a while, so probably at least 15 minutes I guess. And then what needs to happen then is to neutralise it, you basically rinse it off with water, which I'll have to do off camera because I don't have a sink here in the shed. And then see how we're going and decide if we need to recoat it or anything like that. Okay, so I just had that hanging on that bit of wire. That's been on there now for just coming up to 15 minutes. Just one of a little detail thing I realised I hadn't done was for those holes there. I got a cotton bud and got in there with that, and you can see it instantly turned it black, but just to get the gun blue into those holes as well. So you can see there it's reacted. I'll just come around back at the camera so I can show you guys this. This is just before I wash it off the water. And basically, as I understand it, it's an oxidising agent, so it's oxidising that steel, and much like a patina really, or exactly the same as a patina I guess. I'm hoping this will be quite an even sort of look rather than the patinas you normally see where people put patterns in. I'm not looking to do that. But I'm going to rinse this off. I suspect it's going to be a little bit patchy in here, but we'll see. If so, I'll probably recoat it, but I'll just see how it looks. So quite excited to see how this comes out. Back in a minute. Okay, so after the first coat of blue, it is a little streaky along the bevel there. I'm not unhappy with it. Mostly it's come up pretty good. I just put a bit extra light and hopefully the bluish sort of colour will show up. I'll show the other side. I think perhaps it's streaky because of the way I put the blue on. I am definitely going to give it another coat. And what I'll do this time a little bit different is I'll possibly swirl it in and try and get a bit more even that way. But the colour's really good. I'd like to get it a little bit darker and I say just a little bit more even, so that'll be the next goal. But yeah, it's coming along really well, so that's a positive result so far. So what I'll do is I'll go back, I'll repeat that process, the whole thing, redo it, and yeah, we'll check back in with you guys after that, and I've cleaned it up and see how it's looking then. Alright, so second coat's been applied. I just went around all the edges, just from that area forward. Still a little patchy, but I've got to say, overall, pretty happy with that. The colour's really nice. It's got some sort of different hues of the blues and all that sort of thing. But that's looking pretty good. So the happy news for me is that it looks like I've modified it and not completely stuffed up my BK-2. So pretty happy with that. So what I need to do from here is I'm just going to finish off that edge. Still got a pretty decent edge on it. I might just run that across the strops. I might give this a light go off a little bit of fine sandpaper and then strop it, and that'll get me a nice polished edge. And then I'm going to put the handle scales back on, and it should be a case of job done. So I won't bore you guys to tears by working on the edge in front of you, but we'll come back when I get the handle scales and everything on and show you the finished product. But as I say, pretty damn happy with that. Alright, so it's time to look at the finished product. Put the edge on it and put on the handle scales. and for those observant, you'll notice it's a different sort of handle scales. A little while back I was doing an order of stuff from the United States and I pulled the trigger and bought the K-bar micarta aftermarket scales for these. And yeah, I like them. They're good. They're not cheap. God knows, I think the scales cost damn near as much as mine, a complete BK-2, but what the hell. They do have a really nice warm feel, and when I decided to do this up as a bit of a project, I thought why not go the whole hog and do something a little bit special. So they're on there. Now to the blade. The finish, I'm really happy with it. It looks good. It's not completely even, but it's not too bad. It's pretty damn close. And yeah, I'm very happy with the finish. Edge has gone on there as I mentioned. Put a couple extra scratches in where I shouldn't have, but it's got that nice transition. There's no sort of secondary edge there now, or bevel. And but how does it cut? That's the question. Well, it's pretty good. Now, considering that's a 1/4 inch slab of metal, not too bad. Got a bit of pine here. This is particularly hard pine, but we'll have a bit of a lash in it, see how it's biting in there. That's not too bad. Not too bad at all, actually. It's definitely biting better with that sort of convex edge than it did before. So, all up, I'm pretty happy with how that's turned out. It looks good, it's performing better. What's not to like, really? So, job done. And it was actually quite easy too, using the techniques I'd sort of learnt on YouTube with the sharpening and the gun blue was really easy. So if you've been considering doing something like that, have a lash. I don't think you can go too far wrong. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. Hope you'll enjoy that. Bye for now.